Funny enough, in 1994, the U.S. Air Force did admit that it was a cover-up, but not the one that you would suspect. Hi guys, and welcome to my new video. My first video was about alien theories, and well, I haven't made a video about aliens anymore, so I thought it was time for a new one, since the last ones were all about ancient mysteries and missing persons. So let's start with a new alien video. I searched the internet and I found one topic that was everywhere, and this subject came up the entire time. There are so many theories and conspiracies about aliens and also about the government hiding it, especially the USA government. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. The most famous conspiracy is the one in Roswell in the south center of New Mexico, and it happened 70 years ago. I'm not sure if I heard of it before. I know when I was little, around 10 years old or maybe even younger, I had a friend who was into aliens and he had a book with supposed evidence. And I really liked that, and I was always looking in the sky if I could see a UFO. But I haven't really paid much attention to aliens lately. Of course, I've always been interested in the universe and in everything we still need to discover. But I don't know if I heard about the Roswell incident. I actually started looking up things about aliens in the beginning of this year, so it's a bit new to me. A thing that I do know is that I believe in aliens, and I think that there must be more in the universe. I don't believe that we are the only ones in the entire universe. If you know how big it is, you can't imagine that we are the only ones, in my opinion. And I recently heard that they found ice with a lake under it in Mars. Every living thing on Earth needs water to survive, so there is a very big chance that there has been life on Mars, or that there is life on Mars. And I hope we will discover it. Or maybe they already found extraterrestrial life and they are trying to hide it from us. There are so many people who want power and control and are hiding things from us, this I know for sure. And maybe they are doing the same thing with the things they discover in the universe. Maybe they are just waiting to give us the information when it suits their agenda. And this is also a thing that's been happening with the Roswell incident. Many people don't believe that the things the government says is true, and we will take a look into it. And I really want to know what you think when the video is over. Let me know what you believe. And well, I can't talk about everything that's on the internet or in documentaries because it's so much, and I don't want this video to be too long and complicated. So I'm just gonna talk about the most important things. It all started with a headline on the 8th of July in 1947. The Roswell Daily Record newspaper published a front page article about a flying saucer that was captured by the Roswell Army Airfield, also known as the RAAF. The accident happened on July the 7th, which was the day before. The RAAF issued a press release stating that the flying disc has crashed on a ranch near Roswell during a powerful storm. Everybody was excited and talking about it because they thought that they had proof that aliens existed. You have to remember that during that time there weren't a lot of airplanes in the sky, there wasn't a lot of air traffic, and some people thought they saw UFOs. Especially in that year there were a lot of reports, so when they saw this newspaper it became a very popular topic. But later that day government scientists arrived and they changed the story. In a press conference the military stated that it was a weather balloon instead of a UFO. Reporters confirmed this because they saw foil, rubber and wood on the crash area, which they were taken to see the proof. They also made pictures of General Ramey and Jesse Marcel with the debris of the weather balloon. People believed it, and apologies were being made for hyping up the whole event in the newspaper. Another newspaper, the Roswell Morning Dispatch, placed a new claim in their paper, and they also included an interview with Mac Brazel, who was the rancher of the ranch where the debris was found. He was sorry that he told about it. He said it was merely rubber strips, tin foil, a rather tough paper and sticks. So everybody believed that it was a weather balloon, and eventually the story faded from headlines. However, the interest in aliens and UFOs continued, as we all know, otherwise I wouldn't be here making this video. And you wouldn't be here watching it. Many years went by and people hardly mentioned it anymore, until Stanton Friedman, a UFO researcher and nuclear physicist, interviewed Jesse Marcel in 1978. Jesse Marcel was the one who was on the picture with the debris, and he was a retired intelligence officer of the 509th. Back then he was ordered to exit the wreckage of the Roswell incident. He shocked everyone when he told that he still believed that the wreckage was not a weather balloon. Jesse Marcel was very familiar with the materials that were used in air traffic and air travel. He had never seen things similar to the material that he found on the wreckage site, especially the metal. He even stated in later interviews that he was quite sure that it was not from this earth.
They took pictures, of course. They had a whole flock of microphones there. They wanted me they wanted some comments from me, but I wasn't at liberty to do that. So all I could do is keep my mouth shut. And General Ramey is the one who discussed, told the newspapers, the newsmen, what it was and to forget about it. It was nothing more than a weather observation balloon, of course, which we both knew differently. We found a piece of metal about 1.5 to 2 feet wide and about 2 or 3 feet long. Felt like you had nothing in your hands. It wasn't any thicker than the foil out of a pack of cigarettes. But the thing about that got me is that you couldn't even bend it, you couldn't dead it. Even with a sledgehammer would bounce off it. And as of now, I don't know what it was. It was not anything from this earth that I'm quite sure of.
After the interview with Jesse Marcel, Friedman decided to interview other witnesses. There were 600 people who claimed to have witnessed the accident. People from the military, but also just local people who lived nearby. After talking to a lot of the people, he concluded that it was a massive cover-up, a so-called cosmic Watergate, because most of the eyewitnesses had the same story or a similar story about the crash and even about alien bodies. Of course, there are always people who want attention and just make up stories to be in the center of attention, but I do think it's weird that 600 people tell the same story, so the fact that they all have the same story makes this case a bit strange and hard to decide who's right or wrong. So eventually Friedman stated that the crash site, the materials, even alien bodies, details and the spacecraft were all covered up. 2 years later, a book named The Roswell Incident was published in 1980, written by Charles Berlitz and William L. Moore. In that book they stated that the weather balloon story was a cover-up story. They believed that the debris that was found was not all of the flying saucer, but just a small part of it, and that the rest of it was flown to Wright Field, which was an Air Force base near Dayton, Ohio. Many people disputed the book, but it started new conspiracy theories. There were many videos made. One of them was about an alien autopsy. And eventually it turned out that it was a fake video, but the maker of the video says that some of the things were true and other things he just made up because he wanted to make it look better. But of course it was all fake. And there were also documentaries where they showed documents of the president, which was also fake. You would think that this would stop all the conspiracies once again, but no, it didn't. Funny enough, in 1994 the U.S. Air Force did admit that it was a cover-up, but not the one that you would suspect. They told that the weather balloon was actually a US spy balloon, and it was a part of the secret project Mogul, which sought to detect Soviet nuclear bomb tests. The test sites of Project Mogul were all around the US and also in the Pacific. One of the locations was in fact over New Mexico, and they used it in 1947 in the summer, so it could be possible that the supposed UFO was this specific spy balloon. The balloon measured over 650 feet long, and it also had a tail with sensory and listening equipment attached to it. It gave the balloon a weird look, so it's very likely that people misidentified it as a UFO. So eventually the weather balloon was a cover-up story. However, it was a different kind of cover-up story. The fact that they couldn't tell details about this project made people doubt again if it was really true. But I can see why they didn't tell it, because it was a secret project. World War II just ended, so people were all a bit scared, and I think they didn't want to make the people scared once again, or make them scared when it's not necessary. But I do admit that it is very sketchy that they covered it up. There were also people who claimed to have seen alien bodies near the crash site or falling out of the sky, and they also had an explanation for that. The Air Force denied it by saying that they attached dummies to the weather balloon or the spy balloon in later stories. The dummies had a latex skin, so that's maybe the reason why people thought it was something else than humans. And that's where the story doesn't make sense. Because why would you attach dummies to a weather balloon or a spy balloon? They had nothing to do with it. I think by saying this they only made it harder for themselves, because it's a very unbelievable story. Another weird thing is that all the files from January 1974 until October in the same year are all missing or destroyed. So we can never see the reports of that year, and especially of the Roswell incident. And they couldn't even explain why the files were missing, which doesn't really help them. Because if it's nothing, why can't you show that it is nothing? Then people would stop talking about it, and this way you only make it harder for yourself. If you can show evidence to the people, they rest their case. Or are they just hiding something? If they did cover up a UFO crash and alien bodies and etc., they did a very good job, because until this day nobody is certain what happened there. Maybe they didn't convince everyone, but they made people doubt about it. Whether you believe the story of the Air Force or the story of the people who saw the aliens is up to you. It's always hard to know if alien stories are true. There are always people from the military, so-called whistleblowers, who claim to have seen alien bodies inside their base. Most of them describe aliens like the typical grey aliens, the ones with the big eyes, grey skin, tall and with a very big head, like the ones you see in alien movies. Even till this day a lot of people go to Roswell to see what happened there, or at least to see where it happened, and they still earn a lot of money because of them. So do you believe in the U.S. Air Force story, or do you believe in a story about the aliens? I don't know what I believe. I think there is not enough evidence on both sides. The fact that the Air Force has weird statements and that they lost all the documents are really giving me doubts about their story. But on the other hand, the story about aliens isn't really that strong either, because they don't even have proof or pictures or anything. It's only the stories from the people who were there, and well, I always want to see evidence before I can give my opinion. I do hope that the alien story is the true one, and I hope that I can find it out in my lifetime, because alien stories are far more interesting than the real stories. So this was my video for this week. I hope you liked it. It was a very hard video for me because I'm not really super duper into it. I really like to do things like this, but it's very hard for me to talk about it because it's not a very big thing in my country. Anyway, I hope you liked it, and if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you like it even more, please subscribe to my channel. And well, I will see you next time. Bye!